The dry sound of Rias slapping my cheek with the flat of her hand echoed throughout the club room. Her expression was deathly serious. How many times must I repeat myself? No means no. I won't allow it. Unable to help Ozzy alone, I made my way back to the school and told Rias what had happened. Then, after explaining the situation, I suggested that we go to the church. My goal was to rescue Ozzy, of course. Rias, however, was adamant that none of us should get involved. Unable to accept her decision, I kept insisting. That was when she hit me. It was the first time in my life someone had slapped me, but my heart hurt more than my face. It seemed that I was destined to betray Rias' expectations of me, but I wasn't going to give up on Ozzy. I'll go myself then. I'm worried about this ritual thing. If the fallen angels are involved, it can't be good. There's no guarantee they won't harm Ozzy. Don't be foolish, Rias scolded. If you go there, they will kill you. You realize there's no coming back next time, right? The Prez was evidently struggling to keep her cool. Your actions have consequences for me and everyone else here. You are a member of the Gremmery Familia, remember that? In that case, release me from your service. I'll go by myself. Impossible. Why can't you understand? I had never seen Rias so enraged before. Yeah, all I do is cause problems for her. I'm sorry, Prez, but I can't quit after all. Ozzy Argento is my friend. She's important to me. I just can't abandon her. A noble sentiment. I'm impressed you feel confident enough to say that to my face. But it's besides the point. Relations between demons and fallen angels aren't that simple. Our two sides have been mortally opposed for hundreds, thousands of years. If we show any weakness, any at all, they will slaughter us. They are our enemies. I thought the Gremmery Familia destroyed its enemies. Rias and I exchanged furious glares. I refused to turn away, keeping my gaze locked on hers. That girl was originally affiliated with God in heaven. She cannot coexist with us. Even now that she joined the fallen angels, that doesn't change the fact that she's our natural adversary. Ozzy isn't our enemy, I insisted. After all, how could someone so kind and gentle hate us? Even if you are right, she has nothing to do with this, Issei. Forget about her. No matter what Rias said, there was no way I was going to forget about Ozzy that easily. Then Akeno stepped forward and whispered something in Rias' ear. I wondered what it was. Had something happened? Akeno's expression was serious, but it seemed unrelated to our present discussion. Rias' visage darkened and listened to Akeno's report. Yeah, something was definitely up. I have urgent business to attend to. Akeno and I will be away for a short while. But Prez, we haven't finished. She raised her finger to her lips, silencing me. Issei, there are certain things you should know. Firstly, you are under the impression that the pawn is the weakest chess piece, am I right? I nodded silently in response to the question. You're mistaken. Pawns have a unique ability that no other pieces possess. Promotion. Promotion? What's that supposed to be? Just as in an actual chess game, a pawn can change into any other class once it advances deep enough into the opposing side's territory. Issei, once you reach what I had determined the enemy's lines, you will be capable of changing into any other class. That is, with the exception of the king. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I could be promoted to a knight like Kiba, or a rook like Konako, or even a queen like Akeno. You haven't been a demon for very long yet, so there are limitations. You probably won't be able to be promoted to the strongest class, a queen, just yet. But you could become any of the others. If you dedicate yourself, you should be able to acquire the abilities of the other classes. Incredible! Things were finally turning my way. I've reasoned that if I found a method to combine the ability with the sacred gear, even that psycho priest wouldn't be able to beat me. Another thing, regarding your sacred gear, Issei, keep in mind when you use it. Rias began stroking my cheek with her finger. Just feel. Sacred gears are driven by your feelings. That goes for their overall power as well. Emotions are precious, even to demons. The stronger they are, the more powerful your sacred gear will become. My feelings are what powers my sacred gear? In that case, if I want something strongly enough, it should activate for me, right? A final piece of advice, Issei. Even a pawn can capture a king. Just like in chess, so too does that apply for us. You are stronger than you think. On that note, Rias and Akano leaped through the magic circle. Only Kiba, Konako, and I remained. I let out a deep sigh, gathering my determination. Hyodo. Kiba called out as I turned to leave the room. Are you still going? Yeah, I have to. Azia is my friend. I have to rescue her. They'll kill you. Even with your sacred gear. Even if you use a promotion, you can't fight all those exorcists and the fallen angels alone. Even if you use a promotion, you can't fight all those exorcists and the fallen angel alone. Naturally, I was acutely aware of that. I'm still going. Even if it costs me my life, I will save Azia. I would praise your courage, but it's still a stupid thing to do. What other option do I have? I shouted back. Kiba, however, merely answered, I'm going with you. What? I swallowed my words, taken aback by Kiba's unexpected announcement. Who wouldn't have been surprised? I hadn't even seen that one coming. I don't know anything about Azia, but you're one of us. No matter what the president says, there's a part of me that respects your resolve. And speaking personally, I don't care much for fallen angels or their priests. I despise them, actually. Kiba's words suggested some sort of history with the fallen angels, and to hear him say he considered me his ally. You heard what the president said about the fallen angels and about what you're capable of once you reach the enemy lines. She basically said that if you step into that church, you're promoted. Only then did I realize that was what Rias had meant. That was why she told me how to use the promotion ability. She indirectly giving you permission to go. Of course, she also said that you wouldn't be able to do it on your own. I'm sure she was suggesting that I help you. Otherwise, she would have locked you up somewhere to stop you. Kiba explained with a wry grin. Thanks, Prez. Once more, I was touched by her generosity. When we were finished saving Azia, I'm gonna throw myself into my demon work. A small figure approached me as I mentally thanked my boss. Me too. What? Konako? 2 isn't enough. Konako? I had no idea what was going on behind that expressionless face of hers. But in that moment, I felt like I was brushed against her gentle heart. Thank you. I'm touched, Konako. I found myself getting emotional. Huh? I'm going too, though. Kiba sulked. I was grateful to Kiba too, of course. He might have been the popular pretty boy, but he could be kind of cute every now and then. Alright, we can do this. Let's go rescue Azia, the 3 of us. Our mission clear, we set out to the church together. It was growing dark outside as the time of the streetlights usually came on neared. The 3 of us, Kiba, Konako, and myself, were watching the church from a distance. There had been no sign of anyone entering or leaving. Nonetheless, the closer we got to the place, the greater my unease grew. I was practically drenched in my own nervous sweat. According to Kiba, the sensation was proof that there was a fallen angel nearby. Right, so the enemy boss must be inside, I thought. Take a look, Kiba said as he spread out what appeared to be a set of blueprints outlining the church. Where on earth did he get these? I thought about knowing the layout would be handy whenever we needed to attack an enemy base, he said with a charming grin. Whoa, talk about a perfect follow-through. I'd been planning on barging in without any preparation at all. I was reminded once more just how naive I was. In addition to the main hall, there's also a dormitory. It's the nave we should be worrying about. Kiba pointed to the area on the map. So we could ignore the dormitory? Probably. Groups of stray exorcists always end up making some sort of altercation to the nave, especially when they want to carry out arcane rituals, usually in the form of a basement or an underground chamber. Why? I asked. Kiba flashed me a forced smile. To avenge themselves by performing acts of blasphemy in what used to be a holy place. They feel abandoned by the god they used to worship, so they chose to defile the holiest part of the building. They really are messed up, these stray exorcists. Or maybe it's God who's at fault for forsaking such devoted followers, I mused. The same God who had abandoned Azia, so I couldn't help but hate him myself. The main hall is located directly past the entrance. We should storm it all together. The hard part will be finding the trapdoor to the basement and dealing with those assassins laying in wait for us. Assassins. That word alone raises the hair on the back of my neck. We exchanged glances in the faint moonlight outside the church and nodded as one. We were ready. All we had to do now was barge in. Hold on, Azia, I thought. We dove through the entrance and rushed to the main hall. There was no doubting that the fallen angels would have detected us by now. They would know we had entered their territory. In other words, there was no going back. We had to push forward. I threw the large double doors open and stepped into the nave. Inside was an altar and several rows long of pews. It looked the same as any other church. The candles and electric lights along the wall let off a dim yellow illumination. But there was something off about the place. It was the crucifix behind the altar. Someone had snapped its head clean off. What a creepy setting. A figure emerged from behind the pillar, putting its hands together in exaggerated delight. No sooner did I make out its face, raw disgust welled up inside of me. Welcome! What a joyous reunion. It was that white-haired psychoed priest, Freed, or whatever his name was. He was the only one they had left laying in wait for us. That guy was wearing that same freaky grin as the last time. Here's the thing, he began. I make a point of never meeting the same demons twice. You see, with a strength like mine, I pride myself on butchering any one of you I come across on the spot. Then I kiss their lifeless corpses goodbye. That's my purpose in life. But then you guys had to ruin my style. No, I will not abide you ruin my life's work. You really piss me off. You're going to die today. You hear me, you maggot demons? The priest had practically cycled through the full range of human emotion before sitting on a primal, uncontrollable rage. The priest reached into his pockets and retrieved his gun and bladed sword. An electric vibration buzzed through the air as he activated his blade. I couldn't afford to get hit by that or his gun. This time around, though, it was 3 against 1. You pathetic demons are here to save Azia, no? How kind-hearted of you. Coming after that dirty, devil-loving wretch of a sister. She would have been better off ending her own life the second she fell for one of you. What's that supposed to mean? Where is she? I demanded. Oh, all you have to do is take the stairs beneath the altar to the basement. You'll find them performing the ritual down there. Freed motioned towards the altar with his blade, casually revealing the location of the secret entrance. Hold on, isn't he supposed to be stopping us? Or is he so confident that he could defeat all of us, he doesn't mind revealing where she is? Sacred gear. I cry out, activating my red gauntlet. The sacred gear had been successfully equipped. I had this. Kiba drew his sword from his scabbard, just as Konako. Whoa, I was shocked by what I saw. I was so shocked by what I saw, I thought my eyes would pop out. Konako had lifted one of the pews, which was several times longer than she was tall, into the air. Here. With a powerful lunge, she hurled the bench directly at the priest. No way in hell had he seen that superhuman attack incoming. You're pretty strong for a runt. Fried spun to the side, slicing through the airborne pew with a single stroke of his blade. Both halves fell harmlessly to the ground. My turn. No sooner did Kiba enter the corner of my vision than he disappeared. Actually, it would have been better to say that he was moving faster than my eyes could keep up. The sparks flew as he brought the sword down on the priest's blade. So Fried's weapon was solid, even if it did look like it was made out of pure light. Each time it clashed against Kiba's, a shrill metallic sound rang out. Is that all you got? Show me something interesting. Let's save the last words until after you're dead. Kiba spiraled through the air, dodging soundless projectiles that flew toward him, always maintaining the pressure of his own attacks. In fact, he evaded each and every one of the priest's shots. I was astounded. Not to be outdone, Fried was avoiding Kiba's assault with equal precision. They went at it again and again. I might not have been able to catch Kiba's movements, but by the looks of it, the priest could. Yeah, I wouldn't have stood a chance against Fried by myself. Kiba and the priest exchanged glares as their swords locked together. You're strong, I'll give you that. Haha, impressive. And you're a knight. What perfect movements. Wonderful. I hadn't had a good fight in ages. I was starting to feel a little bored. Yes, I'm gonna enjoy killing you. Alright, if you want to get serious about this, I can too. That's not them actually serious? Eat this. I almost didn't even recognize the intense, almost inaudible voice of Kiba's. The moment he spoke, a black wave poured out of his sword, enveloping it in a deep, writhing fog. Darkness. That was the only word that sprang to mind. The shadow had completely encased Kiba's weapon, or rather, it had became his weapon. When it collided with the priest's sword of light, it began consuming it. What the hell is this? Fried cried out in alarm. The Holy Eraser. The weapon that devours light. You've got a sacred gear too? A sacred gear? Kiba? Damn, that blade of darkness looks awesome. Hold on, so the popular pretty boys get all the coolest weapons too? It wasn't long before Kiba's sword completely extinguished Fried's blade, leaving it unable to maintain its form. This was my chance. I charged straight for that psycho. Sacred gear, activate. A powerful voice boomed through the jewel embedded in my gauntlet, and my whole body surged with energy. My attack was aimed at the priest, but he seen me coming for him. How many times do I have to say it? You're really pissing me off. He leveled his gun right at me, blasting me with another soundless projectile. This was it. Promotion. Rook. I cried out. The bullet ricocheted off me, vanishing. Promotion? You're a pawn? Fried was clearly taken aback. Yeah, I'm a pawn. And this pawn's gonna crush you. A rook's key attributes are its incredible defense. I began, lifting my fist in front of his face. There was a strange stiff sensation in my hand, but I didn't let that stop me from letting loose. Fried was sent flying backwards across the room, and unparalleled strength. I broke into a weak chuckle as I caught my breath. That was for hitting Azia. It felt pretty good, actually. Fried hauled himself up from the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His right cheek was badly swollen. That's it? It seemed like promoting myself to a rook wasn't enough to match Konogo's power. Hold on. Upon closer inspection, I saw that the hilt of Fried's sword had become completely shattered. Did he use it to shoot himself? I wondered. That must have been that sensation I felt. He was fast, that was for sure. Oh, not only do I get smashed by a demon, but now he's mouthing off to me. Fried let out a shrill howl. You bastard! Don't get cocky with me. You miserable little demon. I'll kill you. I'll carve you into a million pieces. You disgusting maggot. Die. He screamed as he pulled the second hilt from his robe. Another one? How many does he have? Regardless, Kiba, Konako, and I have him completely surrounded. Realizing that we have him cornered, the stray priest broke out into a distressed smirk. I'll be damned if a bunch of demons are going to get the best of Freed Selzen. You may have won the battle, but not the war. I'm going to rue not being able to exercise you, scum. But falling back beats dying. He pulls a small round orb from his pocket, slamming it to the ground. Suddenly, an intense blinding light erupted from it, blinding us for a moment. A smoke screen? By the time I could make out my surroundings, Freed had already escaped. At the moment, however, the psycho's voice called out from the darkness. Hey Runt, Issei, was it? I think I've fallen in love with you. You think you could get away with hitting me and then mouthing off like that, did you? I'm going to slaughter you, you hear? Just wait, I'll be back. Until then, suckers. I scanned the room, but there was no sign of him. He'd run away and even left a parting shot. Whatever. I didn't have time to waste thinking about him. I exchanged silent nods with Kiba and Konako. Together, we headed for the entrance beneath the altar. The three of us made our way down the winding staircase into the basement. Judging by the lights lining the corridor, the electricity extended down here. Kiba took the lead as we proceeded, first down the long staircase, then through the long passageway into the basement. Several doors lined the corridor, but our destination was straight ahead. Through here, I think I could smell her. Konako pointed down the corridor. So Azia's here. That was enough to boost my spirits. Hold on, Azia. I'm coming for you. At the end of the passageway stood a huge door. Is this it? I asked. Probably. I think we'll find a few exorcists inside. Maybe even a fallen angel. Are you ready? Kiba turned to the two of us. Konako and I nodded. Alright, then let's get through this door. Just as Kiba and I moved to force it though, the door began swinging open entirely on its own. A heavy grating sound rumbled through the corridor as the ritual site gradually came into view. Welcome, demons, said Raynare, the fallen angel, from the deepest part of the room. The chamber was filled with priests, each grasping a hilt of a sword of light. Azia, I cried out after laying eyes on a figure chained to a cross near Raynare. She lifted her head. Issei? We're here to save you, I said with a warm smile. Issei? Tears began dripping down Azia's cheeks. What a touching reunion, but I'm afraid you're too late. The ritual is almost over. Almost over? What does that... All of a sudden, Azia's body began glowing. Her pained screams filled the room. Azia! I moved to reach her, but before I could even get anywhere, I found myself surrounded by priests. Demons will destroy you. Get out of my way, you damned priest. I don't have time to deal with you all. There was a loud thump as Konako punched one of the acolytes away. Don't touch me, she murmured. Kiba had drawn his blade. Looks like I'm going to have to go all in. I really hate priests, you know. Allow me to devour that light of yours. There was a sharp glint in his eyes, keen enough to send shivers down my spine. His sword of darkness was clearly thirsty for blood. This was no doubt going to be an all-out war. No! A large radiance emerged from Azia's body and floated slowly into Raynare's hands. At last, how long I've been lusting for this power. The sacred gear. Those miserable hearts are in the palm of my hand. Raynare embraced that light, her face twisting in ecstasy. It grew more brilliant, illuminating the entire room. Soon after, it died down, shrouding the fallen angel in the bright green glow. Absolute power. With this, I will be the strongest fallen angel there is. All those fools who screwed me over will rue the day they decided to cross me. Raynare cackled with laughter. I paid her no heed and charged straight for Azia. The priest moved in to block my path, but Kiba and Konako lashed out to knock them out of my way. Kiba's sword consumed the priest's blade of light, while Konako moved to crush her now defenseless foes. The two fought together in flawless unison, complementing each other's strengths and weaknesses with precision that belied their long experience and training. Thanks, both of you. I finally made my way to Azia, who was bound to a crucifix. She's okay, right? She has to be. I untied her arms and legs and embraced her limp body. Issei? Azia, I came back for you. Thank you. Her voice was small and weak, almost sapped of its life. Hang in there. She's gonna be okay, right? Come on, don't tell me. It's too late. Raynare broke into a cold sneer as she saw the worry in my eyes. Now that her sacred gear has been torn from her, she will die. Then give it back, I howled, but her cruel grin only widened. I don't think so. Do you realize I had to fool my own superiors to get my hands on this? Now all that's left to do is to destroy the evidence, starting with you. Damn you, you're nothing like the Yuma I remember. At this, Raynare broke into a shrill laugh. It was fun dating you. You were my first girlfriend. And you were so wet behind the ears. I must admit, there's nothing quite like the inexperienced boy like yourself. I was serious about you. And you treated me well. Whenever I found myself in a spot of trouble, you were there to set things right. But you realize I orchestrated it all, don't you? You can be pretty amusing when you get all worked up. I put my heart and soul into that first date. I wanted it to make it a wonderful memory for the both of us. Oh, but it was so ordinary. You can't imagine how bored I was. Yuma. Do you know why I chose that name, Yuma? It's written with the characters for evening and hemp. Because I intended from the very beginning to kill you at dusk. Beautiful, don't you think, Issei? By now, my rage had bubbled over. Raynare. A spoiled brat like you has no right to utter my true name, she sneered. My insides were positively seething with hatred. I had never encountered a more despicable person in my life. She was the real demon here. Hyodo, Kiba called out. We can't defend ourselves here. Let's retreat back upstairs. Konako and I will make a path for you. Quickly. He began mowing down the nearest group of acolytes. He was right. There were still a lot of priests remaining, and on top of that, I wouldn't be able to protect Azia and fight a fallen angel at the same time. I fixed Raynare with a glare, took Azia in my arms, and dashed for the entrance. Konako, let's clear a path for Hyodo, Kiba cried. Understood. The two of them worked together to take out a seamlessly endless stream of acolytes who tried to bar my way. With their help, I managed to make it out to the entrance corridor. Kiba, Konako, go on ahead. We'll keep them occupied here. Go. But get a move on. Damn it, Kiba, Konako, quit showing off. I had no choice but to rely on them. They were my superiors when it came to the demon life, after all. I trusted they weren't going to be foolish enough to get themselves killed. Kiba, Konako, when this is all over, I want you to call me Issei. We're friends. I felt as if I could sense both of them smiling behind me. With that, I hurried back through the tunnel that led to the surface. Grasping Azia tightly in my arms, I emerged from the hidden staircase back into the hall. There was something definitely wrong with her. Azia's face was deathly pale. I laid her down on a nearby bench. Hold on, Azia. Once we get out of here, you're free. Stay with me. You guys, we've still got so much to look forward to. She flashed me a weak smile and took my hand. There was no strength nor warmth left in her grip. I know it wasn't a very long time, but I'm so blessed to have made a friend like you. She widened her lips with a pained smile. If I'm ever reborn, please be my friend again. What are you saying? This isn't over, okay? I'm gonna take you to all kinds of fun places. Karaoke, arcades, bowling, and so many others too. Hang in there. Tears traced their way down my face. I was trying so hard to keep her smiling, but I couldn't even stop myself from crying. I knew something was happening. Azia was dying. Try as I might, there was no denying that. This can't be happening. It can't be. We're friends, always. That's right. I still need to introduce you to Matsuda and Motohama. They might come across as pervs, but they're actually pretty nice guys. I'm sure they'll love to be friends with you too. We'll have so much fun together, you won't even believe it. I wish I'd been born in this country. Then I could have gone to school with you, Issei. You can, as soon as you want. Azia brushed her hand weakly against my cheek. You're crying for me? Now, I don't have any more. Her hand fell slowly to her side. Thank you. Those were her final words to me. With a joyful smile, Azia's spirit left her. I felt my strength wane. All I could do was sit there, staring into her emotionless face. My tears wouldn't stop flowing. Why? Why did she have to die like this? She was a good person, a gentle, kind person who wanted nothing more than to heal those who were in need. Why wouldn't anyone be her friend? Why did it take me until now to reach her side? God, I know you're still there. I shouted at the top of my lungs to the ceiling of the church. If demons and angels exist, then you must too. You watching this, aren't you? You've been watching this whole time. You've been watching the whole damn time, haven't you? I didn't know who I expected to answer, but I still wailed my lungs out. Don't take her away, please. Bring her back, I beg you. She hasn't done anything wrong. All she wanted was to make friends. I'll be here for her forever. So please, let her smile again. Please, God. Despite my pleas, there was still no response. Is this my fault? Did you abandon her because of me? Because I'm a demon? I ground my teeth in frustration. I'd been unable to do anything. I was powerless. If I had been stronger, if I'd possessed more of skill and ability as a demon, if I'd just been able to save her. No matter how much I regretted it though, I thought for sure I'd never see Azia's beautiful smile again. Wow, a demon asking God for forgiveness, or was that a wish? Raynare's voice taunted me from behind. I spun around, only to see the fallen angel grinning scornfully at me. Would you look at this? That knight managed to injure me on my way up here, she said, placing a hand on top of her wound. A pale green light flowed forth, sealing the deep gash. Wonderful, isn't it? No matter the injury, I will heal instantly. A perfect gift for those who no longer have the benefit of divine protection, wouldn't you say? Damn you. The light belonged to Azia. What gave her the right to use it? And what happened with Kiba and Konako? Were they okay? A fallen angel with the power to heal other fallen angels. Now I'll never lose my rank in the underworld. Almighty Azazel and Shemhaza, I am prepared and ready to do your work. There is nothing more wonderful than this. Ah, Azazel, I dedicate my power, this power, to you. What does that matter? I demand, glaring viciously. What does any of that matter? Fallen angels, God, demons? What did any of that have to do with Azia? But they had everything to do with her. She was specifically chosen as the bearer of this sacred gear. You could still have let her live a quiet life, a normal life. I'm afraid not. Those who possess exceptional sacred gears are always ostracized by society. Their powers simply set them apart. Come now, you know how much humans hate those who are different, no matter how wonderful that difference might make them. I would have protected her as her friend. Impossible. She's dead, isn't she? Stone cold dead. You couldn't save her that evening, and you can't save her now. You're a funny one, very amusing. I know I failed her. I'll never forgive you or myself. I was the one who was unable to save her, even if it was Raynare who dealt the killing blow. All of a sudden, Rias' words from earlier flashed through my mind. Just feel. Sacred gears are driven by your feelings. That goes for overall power as well. Give her back. Emotions are precious, even to demons. The stronger they are, the more powerful your sacred gear will become. Give her back to me.
Dragon Booster.
The sacred gear enveloping my arm activated in response to my cry. The jewel in the center of the gauntlet radiating a dazzling light. A strange symbol appeared on the back of it. At the same time, a rush of energy surged through me, flowing from the sacred gear into my own body. Reinvigorated, I dashed forward and swung my fist at the smirking opponent. Raynare dodged the strikes effortlessly, as if executing an intricate dance. Let me put it in a way even an idiot like you can understand. Our respective powers levels are simply too different. If I'm at a level 1000, you're stuck at a level 1. You can't hope to match me. Even using that sacred gear of yours, doubling your power still only raises you to level 2. It's futile. You can't possibly beat me. The jewel in the back of the gauntlet sounded once more. The symbol glowing inside of the jewel changes from 1 to 2. Suddenly, something else had changed deep inside my body. The power within me. The strength to defeat my enemy before me was multiplying rapidly. I charged Raynare, concentrating that energy into my fist. The fact that I had been promoted into a rook earlier likely made a difference too. Gathering your strength, it isn't enough. The fallen angel dodged my attacks again. In an instant, Raynare gathered a ball of light in each hand, stretching the orbs out into familiar shapes. Let's see how you handle these. The spears of light tore through both of my legs, cutting deep into my thighs. Even with the increased defenses of a rook, I hadn't been able to withstand them. I howled with agony as the pain coursed through my body. But with both of those spears still embedded in my legs, I couldn't even fall to my knees. I grabbed them with my bare hands and pulled. I could smell my flesh searing. Damn, those things were hot. It must have been because they were made of light. My palms were already scorched black. Smoke rose from my hands and the wounds in my legs. The pain was unbearable. Raynare broke into a mocking laugh as she watched me attempt to remove the spears. Just how stupid are you? Light is poison to demons. Merely touching it is enough to scorch your flesh. For your kind, there is no greater torment. For a low-level demon like you. With a raw primal howl, I squeezed the spears tighter and yanked them, inch by inch, out of my flesh. My legs were screaming in agony. The intense pain tore through me mercilessly. I felt as if I would pass out, like I would fall dead if I didn't grit my teeth hard enough, but I kept going. This is nothing compared to what you put Ozia through. Tears and sweat dripping down my face, I continued retching out the spears. My legs were howling in pain. Still, I can do it. I had to. With a sickening noise and a splash of blood, I'd finally managed to free myself. The second I released the grip on those projectiles, they dissipated into thin air before hitting the ground. No longer stanched by the spears, my blood began pooling rapidly at my feet. Removing the fallen angel's weapons, though, hadn't stopped this searing ache. My last attack had failed, but even so, the gauntlet on my hand let out a deep, bellowing roar. Despite my increased power, the pain was torturous. Tears continued washing down my face, and drool dripped from my chin. What? My strength had abandoned me, and I slipped hard onto the floor. I wasn't even able to muster up the energy to pull myself up. Damn it, my legs, my whole body had completely sapped of its power. To say I was in a bad spot was putting it lightly. You know, I'm really impressed. A lower class demon rooting out not one but 2 spears of light? But you're fighting the inevitable. My light might not be particularly flashy, but at that density, it's incredibly efficient at killing demons. So efficient, in fact, that I gifted it to the priests to use in their own weapons. Even a middle-class demon would have difficulty recovering from a single strike. As for one of your rank, don't underestimate the power of light, especially mine. Raynare sure seemed to enjoy the sound of her own voice. It's already circulating throughout your body, wilting away at you piece by piece. If you don't get healed soon, that will be it. Frankly, I expected that you already had kicked the bucket by now. You're stronger than you look. So for a newbie demon like me, these are mortal wounds. I would have guessed as much. My whole body was screaming in agony that went beyond normal pain. I felt it in my bones, my flesh, everything inside me was being scorched into cinders. And of course, my nerves were on fire too. So much so that I thought I would go mad. Yeah, if I couldn't get this fixed soon, I was done for, and yet, there was no way I was gonna sit here. But my legs refused to move. Was this the end? I glanced towards Asia. She looked like she was sleeping quietly. Sorry for making such a ruckus, I thought to her. I'll be okay. I'm stronger than I look. Really, I'll be fine, see? At the very least, I didn't want Asia worrying about me. I guess it's time like these people turn to God for salvation. The words slipped from my mouth without even me realizing. Raynare raised an eyebrow in bewilderment, but I kept talking. But he isn't gonna help me. He didn't answer me before, and he never lifted a finger to help Asia. Some sort of deity he is. What are you going on about? Don't tell me you finally lost it. What was I thinking? It's Satan that I should be praying to. You're listening, aren't you? I'm a demon now, so what do you say? I need a little help. You really have lost your mind. Blabbering to yourself won't do any good. Give me strength to pulverize this fallen angel. I don't need you to strike her down for me. I don't need backup. I can do it. Me. See, I can stand up for myself. Just give me one good go. My rage is burning so strong. I can take the pain. One hit will be enough. Just let me crush her. My legs began to move. I already lost all sensation in them, and the slightest twitch would send a surge of agony coursing through my body. Still, I can move. I lifted myself up from the floor. My whole body wouldn't stop trembling, but still I rose to my feet. Though it was unbearable, I could move. I did move. All I needed was enough strength to deal one blow. Impossible. How are you able to stand? That light should be... Raynare froze in utter shock as I slowly forced my way to her. Then, with my feet quaking and my blood still gushing from my wounds, I stood directly in front of her. Hey, ex-girlfriend. I guess I should thank you. I don't believe it. A low-class demon shouldn't be able to stand with those injuries. The light must be burning you from the inside out. You shouldn't have the ability to temper it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it tickles or anything. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. But I don't care. My hatred for you will overcome anything. I fixed Raynare with an unwavering, unyielding glare. I was sure my next move would be my last. I wouldn't be able to hold out any longer than that. I had to finish this in one strike. I had to make it count. What do you say, Sacred Gear? We still got enough strength left to send this fallen angel flying, huh? Let's finish this. Explosion! The powerful voice blasted out with immense energy. The jewel embedded in the gauntlet released a blinding light. Unlike the light wielded by the fallen angel, however, this filled me not with unbearable pain, but a sense of peace. It reminded me of the pale green glow of Azia's healing technique. I could feel my strength welling up inside of me. So there are some lights demons thrive on. I stepped forward. Blood spurted out from my wounds in my legs. I could taste it in the back of my throat too. I was in a bad way, that was for sure. But there was no limit to the sheer agony I was experiencing. My head rang in torment, but it was fine. I could still move. Even in this sorry state, raw power flowed through the gauntlet into my body. When I had encountered Raynare earlier this evening, the chasm between our levels had been terrifying. My instincts had but cowered in her overwhelming presence, and my body had completely frozen. I'd been sure I didn't stand a chance. Not so now. The energy flowing through the gauntlet was incredible. Nonetheless, as the bearer of this sacred gear, I knew it wouldn't last forever. This boost was a one-time use only. The second I unleashed it on my foe, it would be gone forever. My sacred gear told me as much, not verbally of course, but physically. I readied myself to unleash my final punch. I didn't have any fighting experience, but it was fine. All it would take was one hit. My target was a godforsaken fallen angel in front of me. I wasn't about to miss. Impossible. What are you doing? Your sacred gear shouldn't be anywhere near this strong. It's a twice critical. It can't be. How could you possibly surpass me? This energy wave is at least middle class. No, high class. This power is equal to high class demons? Is this the sacred gear's doing? Hey, come on. I thought you were only supposed to double my power. The only high class demon I ever met was Rias. Did that mean I was as strong as her now? Impossible. I have supreme healing power. Now that I hold the Twilight Healing, I've reached the ultimate level. I've earned the love of Azazel and Shamhaza. I can't lose to a lowly demon like you. Raynare summoned fresh spears of light in both hands, hurling them with all her might. I brushed the projectiles aside with my fist. Both dissipated into thin air. Watching me deflect her frenzied attack with such ease, Raynare grew pale. Her black wings beat back and forth loudly as she prepared to leap into the air. After all the high and mighty talk, she was trying to escape now? Is she the kind to hightail it the second the tide turns against her? No matter what type she was, I wasn't about to let Raynare go away. No way in hell. I leaped after her the second she left the ground, grabbing her arm. I couldn't believe how fast I'd moved. It had been so quick even Raynare hadn't been able to react in time. Her arm was thin and mager. I pulled her towards me, refusing to let go. You can't get away. No, I have supreme power. Go to hell, you goddamned angel. You lowly demon. In one fell burst, I unleashed the energy that had built up into the gauntlet, concentrating my whole being on that one final punch. I directed the blow straight into the face of my hated enemy. There was a cruel breaking sound as my fist caved into Raynare's skull, then just kept going even harder. The force of the impact sent her flying backwards across the room. The fallen angel smashed into the far wall, tearing a gaping hole into the stone edifice and sending dust billowing through the air. When the cloud finally settled, I saw her laying sprawled onto the ground outside. Raynare wasn't moving. I couldn't tell whether she was dead or not. But whatever the case, she clearly wasn't able to get back up. Serves you right. I curled my lips into a faint grin. Really, that really felt good. But it wasn't long before my exultation turned into anguish. Azia. I would never see her smile again. Having used up every ounce of my energy defeating the fallen angel, I slumped weakly to the floor. Suddenly, someone grabbed my shoulder. It was Kiba. Look at you, taking down a fallen angel all on your own. He said it as he helped me stay on my feet. To my surprise, he didn't look particularly in good shape himself. What held you up? Kiba let out a chuckle. I was instructed to stay back. Rias? That's right. I trusted you to defeat Raynare by yourself. I turned towards the new voice, only to find Rias approaching me with a gentle smile and a flourish of her crimson hair. Prez, where did you come from? The basement. Once my business was finished, I used my magic circle to jump down there. I've never teleported into a church before. I admit I was a little worried. She said it with a sigh. So that's how she showed up at the same time as Kiba and Konako. That must have meant they defeated the priests. Those guys wouldn't have stood much of a chance against Rias. At the moment, Konako walked briskly past me. Where is she going, I wondered. Rias drew closer and planted herself directly in front of me. I'm glad I saw you won. Prez. I guess I did, didn't I? Wonderful. I expected no less from a member of my familia. She let out a chuckle before wrinkling her nose. Oh dear. This is a mess. President, are you alright? Akano looked troubled. Is something wrong? I asked nervously. Churches are the domain of God, or rather, of religions dedicated to him, even if they are being used by fallen angels. Normally, if demons like us laid in church into waste like this, we would risk finding ourselves targeted for assassination. Seriously? We should be okay this time, though. Why is that? This building has been abandoned for quite some time. A band of fallen angels and their followers might have made use of it, and we may have picked a fight with them, but we didn't officially cross into their territory. That might have started a war. This was just a small scuffle between a single demon and a lone fallen angel, though. These things happen all the time. We should be okay. Right, I guess you could frame it that way, I thought, relieved. President, I brought her. Konako appeared once more through the hole that had been blasted through the wall, dragging a heavy load behind her. She was hauling an unconscious Raynare back inside by one of her misshapen black wings. Hold on, brought. That was an interesting way to put it. Thank you, Konako. Now then, what say we wake her up, Akano? Very good. Akano raised her hand, and a pale ball of something that looked like water floated up before her. Another one of her demon powers, I guess? Akano dropped the airborne mass directly on top of the fallen angel, dousing her in water. There was a loud splash, followed by a gurgling cough. Raynare slowly opened her eyes to find Rias staring down above her. Nice to meet you, fallen angel Raynare. The Gremory girl? Greetings, I am Rias Gremory, the head of the House of Gremory, the Prez said with a composed smile. It's wonderful to meet you. Such a shame we don't have long to chat. Raynare glared up at her before breaking into a sneer. You think you had beat me, but you're mistaken. We might have kept our plans from the higher-ups, but there are still fallen angels working with me. Once they realize I'm in danger, I'm afraid they won't be coming. Rias cuts her off. I've already disposed of the fallen angels Kalvana, Donasik, and Mitilat. You're lying. Raynare balked, sitting up straight. Rias pulled 3 large black feathers from her pocket. These belong to them. They were your brethren, so you could tell them apart, I presume. At the sight, Raynare's expression darkened. It looked like Rias was telling the truth. I guess there were several fallen angels plotting a way through this town back when Donasik first attacked Issei. I assumed at the time they were working on something collectively and chose to ignore it. Even I'm not foolish enough to take you all on. But then I heard how your associates were lurking in the shadows, trying to keep a low profile. So I brought Akano with me, thinking to talk to them. And what would you know? They spilled your whole plan without me even needing to ask. By helping you, they hope to elevate their own status in your society. Lowlifes like that have an unfortunate habit of boasting about how clever they think they are. Rias twisted her lips scornfully. Raynare could only grit her teeth in frustration. 2 young ladies approaching them alone. They must have underestimated us. They told us everything, thinking they would kill us anyway. Rias chuckled. How foolish. They were the ones that met their demise. You sure had some pretty pathetic conspirators working on your little scheme. So that's what it was. That's what Rias meant by urgent business. Exterminating other fallen angels. She wanted to help me from the very beginning, even though I had been so rude to her. I cursed myself. Why did I let my emotions get the better of me all the time? She can take down any foe with a single shot. The Duke's beloved daughter is truly gifted in the art of destruction. Despite her youth, the president is renowned as a genius to demon society. Kiba whispered to me, extolling Rias' praises. Even some call her the crimson-haired princess of annihilation. Akano added with a light chuckle. Princess of Annihilation? What a terrifying nickname. And I'm part of her familia. I didn't know what to think anymore. Rias glanced at my left arm, at the gauntlet still equipped to it. The red dragon. That mark wasn't there before. I see. Maybe I was imagining things, but Rias looked almost taken aback. That explains how Issei was able to defeat a fallen angel, she murmured quietly. Do you see that, Raynare? You weren't defeated by a twice critical after all. Issei Hyodo's sacred gear is far more special than that. The fallen angel skeptically raised an eyebrow. The boosted gear. The gauntlet of the Red Dragon Emperor. The rarest of the rare. Rias continued. That emblem of the Red Dragon is proof. I'm sure even you must know what that means. Hearing this explanation, Raynare's mouth fell open in shock. The boosted gear? One of the sacred god-destroying Longinuses? It's said to be capable of bestowing power that can surpass even the Satan or the god. Are you telling me this boy wields such a devastating weapon? Rias turned back to me. If the legends are true, then this boosted gear doubles the power of the one wielding it every 10 seconds. Even if you begin at level 1, you can surpass even the highest ranked demons and fallen angels with enough time. Who knows, if you master it, you might even be able to vanquish God himself. Seriously, Rias? I can even take down God? That's the sacred gear's hidden power? Indeed, there was an emblem depicting the red dragon carved into the back of the gauntlet. That must have been why it kept saying boost. Each time it did, it must have been doubling my power. It certainly explained why I kept growing stronger. Could it have been the reason that Raynare had suddenly become terrified of me towards the end of our fight? What a formidable sacred gear. I returned my gaze to the weapon encompassing my left arm with renewed nervousness. The boosted gear, my sacred gear. I still couldn't believe it. Does this mean I've been promised to some sort of legendary rise to the ranks of demonkind? Well, as powerful as it is, a sacred gear that requires so much time to charge comes with a considerable risk. Few opponents would sit by and wait for it to reach its full potential. Luckily for you, Raynare here got a little bit more than carried away. Rias had hit the nail on the head right there. She was right, of course. It seemed foolish to think that an opponent would just sit by and let me power up. In other words, my sacred gear was immensely powerful, but it also came with notable weakness. Ria stepped towards me, a sweet, intoxicating scent wafted from her. She gently patted my head as she spoke. Most interesting? I'm so pleased to have you as my manservant, Issei. I might not be able to contain my affection for you. With that, she let out a light chuckle. Though she regarded me kindly, I found myself trembling with the terror of an altogether different sort. Prez? What is it? She asked, her smile unwavering. Struck by a sense of shame, I bowed my head to her. I'm sorry. I said some pretty awful stuff earlier. I thought you weren't going to help Azia, but I was wrong. I had no idea you were doing so much. I owed her my deepest apologies. I'd assumed that she was truly cold-hearted demon, so I'd thrown insult after insult at her. Now that it was all over, all I could do was apologize. Surprisingly, Rias didn't seem bothered. She continued patting my head. Before I knew it, my tears began pouring down my cheeks. I hadn't been able to accomplish my goal. Prez, I couldn't save Azia. There's no need to cry. No one can blame you for what happened. But I... She wiped away my tears with her fingertips. Don't blame yourself. You're still getting used to being a demon. There is still so much time for you to learn. That's all there is to it. Improve yourself. Become stronger. I'm going to work you hard from now on, so be ready, Issei. I have to try my hardest. I'm going to get stronger no matter what. I etched those words into my heart. Now then, it's time that I finished my work. With that, Rias' eyes turned frigid and ruthless. She approached Raynare. The fallen angel was clearly terrified. Be gone. Rias' tone was colder than cold, overflowing with murderous intent. Of course, I will be taking that sacred gear back from you as well. You gotta be kidding me. This healing power is for Azazel and Shamhazai. It's a wonderful thing, living for one's sake of love. But I'm afraid you're a rather tainted individual who lacks a sense of elegance. I can't forgive that. Rias fixed Raynare in her gaze. There was no question Rias meant to annihilate Raynare. Mind if I drop in? At that moment, a figure appeared in the gaping hole in the wall. It was the priest, Fried Selzen. That lunatic. What's he doing back here after turning tail like that? Whoa, looks like my boss is in a pinch. Whatever shall I do? Help me. Raynare called out for him. Name your reward. It's yours. Free broke out into a lecherous sneer. An order from an esteemed angel? Can I sleep with you then? I've always wanted to be in bed with an angel. What higher honor could there be? What better way to elevate my status? Quit screwing around and help me. Raynare's face contorted in anger. She looked frantic to make her escape. Raynare was definitely getting impatient. If I could have read her mind, it probably would have undoubtedly be thinking, this measly human would never betray me. Oh no. I'm serious. This one simple request shouldn't be too much. Should it now, my dear angel? is it? Oh, I see. Well, in that case, I bid you my farewell. After all, it would have been hell of a gamble. No matter how you look at it, the odds aren't in my favor. Freed spun from side to side, clearly enjoying himself. You're a priest, aren't you? Then save me. You'll live to serve me. I refuse to work for a boss who would let herself be beamed by a lowly demon. As pleasing as you are to the eye, there isn't much by the way of brains in that lofty head of yours. At best, you make good fodder for carnal fantasies. So, you might as well kick the bucket already. Although, as a fallen angel forsaken by God, you won't be finding yourself into the way of heaven or hell. Oblivion awaits, pure nothingness. There won't be anything for you. There's but the 3 levels of refuge. Huh? Hold on, that's Buddhism. And here am I supposed to be a Christian? Silly me. With that, Freed seemed to lose all interest in Raynare. The fallen angel's face filled with despair. I almost felt sorry for her. Raynare was merely shadow of the power-hungry and destructive figure she had cut a short time ago. Freed fixed me with a wide grin. Huh? Why me? I thought, displeased. Issei. What a wonderful ability you have there. You certainly caught my eye. You'll make a worthy kill, that's for sure. Congrats. You made my top 5 list of demons to exterminate. Next time we meet, what do you say we have ourselves a little romantic, passion-filled fight to the death? A cold chill ran down my spine. The psycho priest might have been grinning, but his attitude reeked of hunger for death. He just issued me a challenge. No, an advance notice to my own murder. Well then, everyone, bye-bye. Don't forget to brush your teeth. With a casual wave of his hand, he disappeared just as quickly as he arrived. Something told me I would be seeing him again. It wasn't a premonition exactly, but something more unnerving. It looks like your own servant has abandoned you. Fallen angel Raynare, you poor thing. Despite her words, there wasn't a hint of sympathy in Rias' voice, and the fallen angel began visibly quivering in trepidation. Maybe it was only because I had known her only as Yuma, but I couldn't help but feeling somewhat sorry for her. Even if her whole charade as my girlfriend had simply been a plot to lure me into her trap. Raynare stared up at me, her eyes suddenly glistening with love and affection. Issei, help me. It was Yuma's voice. The demon is going to kill me. I love you, Issei. Please help me defeat her. Raynare was once again playing the role of my former girlfriend, tearfully begging me to save her. I was a fool for feeling sorry for you, Yuma. Goodbye, my love. Prez, I can't be the one to do this. Here are my final words to her. The fallen angel's expression froze in abject horror. You've toyed with my servant's emotions for the last time. Get out of my sight. Rias unleashed a burst of demonic power from the palm of her hand, completely obliterating the fallen angel. All that remained were my vague, lingering emotions and a stray black feather gliding through the air. A pale green light filled the church. It was Azia's sacred gear. Raynare's defeat seemed to have released it. It bathed me in its warm, comforting glow as Rias took it in her hand. Now then, let's say we return this to its rightful owner. But she was already dead. I had failed her. I had sworn to protect her. I had sworn to save her. I may have defeated Raynare, but what had been the point of it all if I couldn't even save Azia? No, I thought. That kind of attitude is a betrayal to my friends. They had fought alongside me for the sake of Azia's. They had no personal stake in this. Prez, everyone, I'm I'm really grateful for everything you've done, but Azia... Ise, do you know what this is? Rias asked as she pulled something small from her pocket. The item was small and the color was blood-like crimson, almost the same shade as her hair, a chess piece. Huh? This is a bishop piece, Ise. What? I was so taken aback by your answer that I didn't even know what else to say. I neglected to mention this earlier, but noble demons are awarded 15 evil pieces in total. 8 pawns, 2 knights, 2 bishops, 2 rooks, and 1 queen. The same one finds in a real game of chess. I already used one of my bishops, but I have one remaining. Rias approached Azia. The nun looked so peaceful in death that it seemed as if she was only sleeping. Rias placed a crimson bishop piece on Azia's chest. The bishop's role is to protect and support the other demons in the Familia. The girl's healing ability would certainly prove useful. This may be unprecedented, but our good sister is about to be born again into the underworld. A dark crimson energy began emitting around Rias' body. I, Rias Gremory, call to thee, Azia Argento. Heed my command. Return thy soul from the shadow of death, and rise once more as my demon servant. Rejoice, for thou hast been given life anew as my bishop. The chess piece let out a brilliant, deep red glow before sinking into Azia's chest. At the same time, Azia's sacred gear let out a pale green burst of light and sank back into her chest as well. Rias watched for a long moment before letting her tremendous energy subside and breathing a deep sigh. I watched in a trance as Azia began opening her eyes. I could hardly contain my swelling emotions. Huh? It was Azia's voice. I thought I'd never hear it again. Rias flashed me a kind smile. I won't make a habit of this, but I resurrected her. Her power to heal our kind may be handy. From now on, Ise, it is your job to protect her. After all, you are her senior now. Azia sat upright. She glanced around the room for a second until her gaze settled on me. Ise? She cocked her head in bewilderment. I embraced her with a warm hug. Let's go home, Azia.